Tristan Taylor, or Hiroto Honda in the Japanese original, is one of the most beloved characters in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! His ancient Egyptian haircut, his undying devotion to his friends, his voice.
Hooray! I'm friends with Spider-Man!
At the same time, Tristan is not exactly the greatest duelist and never shown participating in the high-stakes tournaments of the series. But what if we weren't playing duel monsters? What if we played something slightly different instead? Today we'll be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Monster Coliseum for the PlayStation 2, and we will attempt to beat the game only using Tristan's monsters. Wait, you've never heard about this game before? Well, in that case, allow me to explain. Yu-Gi-Oh! CMC is a spin-off game that combines Yu-Gi-Oh! And chess in a way. And yes, I will say this phrase in every single one of these videos. These handshakes are way too funny. On the board, you have a key piece called a symbol, which can move but not attack, as well as an assortment of monsters. If either your symbol or all of your monsters are destroyed, you lose the duel. And the same goes for your opponent. Simple enough, isn't it? The game features 5 stages with 5 opponents each, and as you progress through these stages, the opponents become increasingly challenging. Now guess where our dear friend is placed. Yeah, he's the second opponent overall, only topped or rather bottomed by Joey, who, if we're being honest, is only there because they needed a prominent character to serve as the tutorial opponent. Since he's such an early opponent, Tristan does not play a particularly great set of monsters, or at least it seems like he doesn't. But what if I told you this might not be the case after all? That perhaps Tristan is a way better Capsule Monster player than we all thought. Well, time to prove it or die trying. Before we start, perhaps I should explain what exactly doesn't seem too great about Tristan's monster selection in the first place. The main mechanic in CMC is the attribute system. 8 attributes aligned in 2 separate rock, paper, scissors style circles, much like the advantage system in other Yu-Gi-Oh! Titles before. Each attribute has an advantage and disadvantage, which becomes increasingly important in fights as the levels of the monsters progress. And yes, in this game monsters level up, as does your symbol. This is important because your symbol also affects the stats of your monsters. If they share the same attribute, or if they have the attribute that synergizes with yours, like fire and wind, or earth and light for example, your monsters will be powered up. And the other way around, of course. Best of all, every time your symbol levels up, you can increase one of its stats called effect strength, and this boosts this attribute relationship even further. Makes sense? Good. The gist of this is that, ideally, you want to play mostly monsters that are powered up by your symbol. And Tristan does, to a degree. He plays the wood attribute, and he has 2 rather weak wood starting monsters, the petite moths. What he also plays, however, are 2 thunder monsters, and wood and thunder have absolutely no interaction in this game, hence they're completely unaffected by his symbol. In Tristan's case, as the second opponent in the game, this doesn't really matter since all of his pieces are level 1 anyway, but if we plan on using this exact lineup to try and beat the entire game, this problem will get worse and worse the further we get. In time, the thunder monsters will become more and more irrelevant, and while the petite moths would grow in power, their absolutely horrendous movement and attack range would always stay the same. Wonderful, I know. So why the hell would I even attempt this challenge if the lineup is so incredibly bad? Well, first off, I still owe Tristan from our previous Gate Guardian challenge. And thank God we have 300 MP on Tristan. Thank you so much. Look at Tristan, he's not scared of our challenge, he's not scared of this beefy triple monster, and he's gonna get slaughtered for it. And secondly, there's one thing I haven't explained yet. Evolutions. Yu-Gi-Oh! CMC also features monster fusions as well as evolutions. The latter work by reaching a certain level with a monster and then placing it on a map that has enough attribute value of the same element. Basically, you get to the right level, make sure there's enough woods where the monster is standing, and voila, Petite Moth can evolve. Evolutions are usually slightly stronger and more mobile than their original forms, although normally this is not a crazy power-up. But all you OG Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans of course know that Petite Moth is far from normal. Even in this game, you can evolve these things multiple times, meaning you also get multiple power-ups. But there is one problem. Every time you evolve a monster, its level is reset back to 1, and the level you need for each of these evolutions is also increasingly higher, so it will be more tedious and difficult to get there every single time. In essence, we'll be racing the game and try to evolve our 2 moths as soon and as often as possible before the opponents start overpowering us. And that's the strategy. Wish me luck. Last thing before we begin, of course we have to cover the rules. I will play this game on a fresh save file. The game version is of course vanilla and completely unmodded. I will recreate Tristan's lineup down to a T, including the starting AP and PP on his symbol. And yes, the health meter is called PP in this game, and yes, I will make way too many dumb jokes about it. Brace yourselves. At the start of the game, I am required to buy 10 monsters in order to get going in the first place, but I will only ever use the exact 4 monsters that Tristan uses. Also, there will be no additional copies if any of them get destroyed. Additionally, there will be no trading with other save files or anything else that could be considered cheating in any way. We're just gonna play the game normally. However, emulator save states coming is allowed and will be absolutely necessary for a game like this. Wonderful! Now let's go and beat up some of our friends. Quite nostalgic, isn't it?
Hey, no fair. You can't punch me while I'm not on screen.
You had it coming.
As I said, first up is Joey, and he's the tutorial fight. Usually this fight is a cakewalk, but due to the attribute disadvantage, our petite moths die to 1-hit shots from any of his Fire Reapers. 1 single hit. If you've ever played this game, you know how ridiculous this is for the early game, but what can you do? I knew this before because I had actually planned to do a petite moth only run, and beating Joey with just 3 petite moths you can buy from the starting shop was simply impossible. And I tried for hours. Anyhow, we want to keep our moths alive at all costs. If they did get destroyed, they wouldn't disappear entirely, but they would not gain any XP for winning this duel, and we would have to play the next duel without them, losing out on even more XP. Of course, we have no time for that, so I send in our Scorpion and Pikachu to deal with these nasty Reapers. What you all need to know is that in this game, opponents are very prone to make stupid plays if you set the board up correctly, so I forced Joey to move towards us, allowing us to attack first. Our 2 Thunder Pieces engage and destroy the first Reaper. Destroying monsters yields way more XP than simply attacking, but our moths are so fragile here that I have to keep them on the backline for now. Joey retaliates, and good lord, I did not expect his Reapers to one-shot our Thunder monsters as well. This is going to be a tricky duel for sure. For a moment, I thought I'd figured something out. Fire monsters naturally get weakened by standing in water, which is precisely what this stage is supposed to teach us. Well, turns out the attack is still enough to one-shot our Scorpion, so that flies right out of the window. And since our moths have such horrible attack range, we cannot rely on one Thunder monster alone destroying the opposing team, especially since Fire Reapers have enough range to always strike back when hit. Essentially, this means that we'll have to double tap them with our Scorpion and Pikachu every single time, otherwise we'll likely lose the entire duel. Great. There is one backup strategy though. In one of my previous challenge runs of this game, I discovered that when the water levels rise in this stage, a previously blocked path on the other side of the map opens up for a short time window. We might be able to use this mechanic in order to smuggle a few monsters over that border, sneak behind Joey's team and destroy his symbol instead, since that thing obviously cannot hit back. While attempting this strategy, I managed to destroy 2 of his Reapers in the process, but due to us getting into a board state I'm not comfortable with, I reload and keep all of our monsters at bay. Maybe if we follow the same pattern but have one more piece nearby, we can destroy the first 2 Reapers in the same manner, and then brute force our way through the last 2, even if we lose a few monsters in the process. However, this is not what happens. What happens is that Joey starts to behave differently for no apparent reason. I even checked back in the stream player in order to find the same moves I had done before, and after multiple attempts at understanding what the hell just happened, I just bait him into the position I want him in. I was completely and utterly confused for minutes though, and I think my face shows. The good people in the stream chat figured it might have just been due to Joey getting bored at how long this duel was already taking and then just doing random moves to try and finish it. Yeah, let's just take that. Whatever the reason, the position I got him in now allows us to destroy the 3rd Reaper without any casualties, and the 4th one also falls just a few turns later. I spent a few more minutes in order to min-max the XP gain we'd get from the last few attacks, and also because I wanted to destroy his Reapers with our Moths as revenge for how much they made me struggle back when I tried that auto challenge. Feels great, honestly, and the last Moth to attack gains even more XP, hence accelerating its evolution process by a little bit. To be honest, Joey was much more of a struggle than I'd expected, which is kinda cool. Usually he's pretty much a pushover, but the difficult part of this challenge is far from over. The early game in particular tends to be a lot harder for limited runs like this one, since we can't out-level our opponents like we can do in the late game eventually. But now, it's time for a very important duel. Now it's time for the ultimate Tristan mirror match. Okay, first off, I know, some of you have been screaming since the intro of this video, and it's true, Tristan is not necessarily bad at card games. He's implied to have beaten Joey before episode 1, although that might not be a huge achievement.
Doing this Brooklyn accent makes it difficult to concentrate on card games.
And although he went down in his second and final duel in the filler season against Nesbit, his team still won, so can you really count that as a loss? I don't think so. I think it goes without saying that our opponent's map will also be in our favor this time. But I don't even need to use the field advantages we have here, since Tristan tends to rush our side of the field with his monsters that have vastly varying degrees of mobility, meaning that we can take them out one by one. Okay, come to think of it, maybe he just sucks after all. Since we're familiar with the attack and movement ranges of his Pikachu, we place our monsters in a way that his diagonal-only ranges cannot reach any of them. Problem is, if Tristan has nothing to attack, he won't move in. Even he's not that stupid. In order to bait him out, I offer up our symbol as bait. This has proven time and time again an integral strategy in CMC challenge runs, and it turns out that Pikachu cannot even take half of our symbol's PP in one blow, so we're all good. And then we simply dish out 2 attacks to get rid of it. Nice and easy. Playing these diagonal-only pieces can really mess things up sometimes, so good thing we only have to use one of them. Now you might think that Tristan is worried at the ease with which we decimated his strongest monster, but instead he's actively celebrating.
Oh my gosh, I'm winning! I'm winning!
What the hell? Alright, buddy. If that's what you want to do, that's fine by me.
Oh my gosh, I'm winning! I'm winning!
I get a bit too comfortable in this fight and mess up, attacking with our Moth first and then using our Scorpion to destroy his Moth. Should have taken that XP to accelerate evolution even more, but I didn't save state here, so I just roll with it. For his Scorpion, we do make sure not to repeat this mistake, and now only one of his Moths remains on the field. We could likely stall this duel now, run away with most of our team and send our highly mobile Pikachu forward in order to destroy his symbol, but that does have a slight chance of not working, and it would have wasted a lot of time. I think we're good anyway, so I just end this duel right here and right now. One of our Moths levels up, and after one more, we'll be ready for the next evolution. Very nice. Duke Devlin. Typically, he's the first roadblock of many challenges. Why? Well, his stage is open, yet small and tight. No hiding, no corridors, nothing. And he plays 5 monsters, and pretty good ones at that. Since the initial placement can do a lot of heavy lifting here, I try to figure out a decent one before engaging. This is one of these fights where using save states is so goddamn important. I basically reload on every single move I make multiple times in hopes of finding the right strategy. After the first 20 minutes, I do find a solid opening. We destroy the first Karibo, our Pikachu levels up, and we don't lose any pieces immediately. Very nice. We proceed to take down another monster, 2 of our pieces crumble, but we find a very good position. I try a few variations of follow-up moves, and while most result in us ultimately losing a monster, I discover one that somehow taunts Duke into attacking neither of our crumbled capsules, who are just waiting to be destroyed instantly, but attacking our symbol instead. The AI sometimes prioritizes attacking the symbol, even though it makes no sense, but hey, we'll take it. Initially, I was completely surprised by this, but after assessing the situation, I decided to take a huge risk. I mean, not really, since I can always load back, but I decided to test a rather unlikely strategy. Due to Duke's stage being so small, I can reach his symbol in a rather short time and destroy it for way more XP than we'd get from the last monster kill. However, we have 3 crumbled pieces, and he can destroy any one of them with one single blow from his Scorpion. One of these pieces can disappear out of attacking range, but the other 2 remain completely vulnerable. The only thing that could prevent him from destroying either one of them is if he somehow prioritizes attacking our symbol again, even though it would not bring him the win or help his cause in any way, shape or form. Also, Duke is not Tristan.
Oh, he's so smexy. His cup is so big.
He's a pro player who created his own game that is definitely not a cheap ripoff of the highly successful card game that dominates the universe he inhabits. What do you think he decides on? Yeah, exactly. If you've not... Oh my god, he did it! Oh my god, what the hell? He's a moron. Sadly, it's not enough to pull off the strategy, since we lack the damage to win in a single turn, so I end up sacrificing our own Scorpion, who luckily already got to level up in this very fight, and grab some extra XP for our moths. Probably a good trade. Duke falls, but we are one monster down now. Let's hear how that might affect the next fight. The reason why I'm in a hurry for our moths to level up is that they not only require to be level 3, they also require 30 wood power either from the map or a single map tile they're standing on. The first possible point where this can occur is Grandpa's stage, and he's the 5th opponent, so we have one more fight beforehand in order to bring both of them to level 3 and then evolve them quickly before any lethal damage occurs. Also, Petite Moths gain a special healing ability at level 3. Pretty cool, I know, but now it's time for a Christmas date with Thea. So, on one of the other challenge videos, someone mentioned that this is supposedly a Japanese thing, where Christmas markets or public places like this one usually have a romantic connotation, so make of that what you will. I do scout the field on Thea's map, but there's almost no wood value in the entire thing. Not even near these huge-ass Christmas trees, which are obviously planted on these small grass fields, but they're covered in snow and don't count, I suppose. Let's start with the duel. We approach Thea's annoyingly mobile light pieces, and thank goodness we're not playing darkness pieces again. After the first destruction, Thea gets scared and becomes defensive. Good for us, since we are fighting with one man down, remember? Skelangel falls, and now we have to start thinking about our other moth reaching level 3 in time. Since some of our pieces are crumbly, I decide to try something I never did in my entire life. I use Petite Moth's special ability Soothing Woods and heal our Pikachu a little. Pikachu then takes out a moth, and now we're finally in the majority on the board. We retreat shortly, heal up again, and 2-hit her Root Water. And since the win is guaranteed now, I strategize how to go for her symbol too without losing a piece. However, after a few turns, I decide against wasting any more time. Both our moths are guaranteed at least level 3 now, so it really doesn't matter. Or at least that's what I thought, but it turns out we only get a measly 20 clear bonus XP, leaving our level 2 moth precisely at that, level 2. I gaslight myself into thinking that it's fine because the challenge run will be more entertaining for it. Yeah, let's see how that one turns out. Alright, finally it's time to see some well-deserved evolution action here on Grandpa's... Wait, what? These tiles have 26 wood? Are you kidding? Why? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Why would you make it this exact number and not 30? Wow, alright, maybe the game doesn't want us to evolve yet, or the devs just screwed up for no particular reason. Yeah, anyhow, this will slow things down quite a bit. Once we beat Grandpa, we'll advance to stage 2, and there we can choose the order of our next 5 opponents. One of them will be Weevil, who definitely has enough wood on his stage to evolve, but I had hoped to save his stage for later and possibly evolve even further by then. Well, what can you do? Gotta play the cards we dealt. Thankfully, Grandpa is not the most difficult opponent. He plays an Earth symbol, but not a single Earth monster, which is quite bad. It is so bad, in fact, that I had already speculated that a Grandpa-only run could be a lot of fun all the way back during our fight against Joey. Tristan is Grandpa. Yeah, Grandpa might be more difficult. Because, is there any symbol synergy with Grandpa? There's none, right? So yeah, there might be a Grandpa video soon. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Only takes like a second anyway. We get a good opening, destroying his Karibo early. Sadly, his right arm of the Forbidden One has 240 PP and is able to tank 2 of our attacks, so we need to strike a 3rd time. This leaves us quite open for attacks, but luckily Grandpa's remaining wood monsters are slow and short-ranged. We destroy one of his moths and keep our monsters as far away as possible. I'm really trying to get out of this fight casualty-free, and while I almost manage it without problems, Grandpa is not taking my symbol bait near the end and chooses to destroy our Scorpion instead. I load back and use a different strategy, essentially forcing him to attack the symbol instead, and we manage to get away with all our pieces and the final attack from one of our own moths. Perfect. Finally, we get a symbol level up, and we put all our points straight into effect strength. If you remember this from the intro, the stat will increase how much our wood monsters are powered up from our symbol, and this will scale very nicely with the higher levels we'll reach eventually. Alright, the first stage is cleared, now things can get a bit more interesting. Since people in the chat mentioned that some of the other maps might have some wooden tiles scattered around them, I check Marco's stage first. He's an opponent I usually like to tackle early on, but no luck here. Just lots of water and dry land. On the other hand, Mai has quite a few grassy tiles on the edges of her map, which I never really noticed, and lo and behold, they contain 10 earth and 30 freaking wood. Very nice. We will not fight her first though, as she packs quite a punch, so we'll try our luck with Weevil first. Since evolutions reset the level of the evolved monsters, we need to perform them as quickly as possible. Luckily, Weevil's stage is almost completely covered in bushy grass fields. What's slightly less lucky is this absolute joke of landform stats. Do you see this? 20 earth and no wood? 0? Are you kidding me? Look at this field! Okay, it's not all too bad, since the more bushy tiles do have exactly 30 woods, but it will slow us down slightly and is also just laughable. Come on. Whatever, turn 2 and we immediately evolve our first petite moth into larvae moth. It might seem a little bit underwhelming at first, but the stat increases are not to be underestimated, and the change in attack direction might also come in quite handy. We engage the field and start the fight, but it seems like fortune does not favor us right now. We're one single attack point short of one-shotting Weevil's petite moth. What are the odds? We can, however, one-shot his shovel crusher, and that's very nice. 2 attacks on the petite moth follow quickly, but ultimately I have to load back and change our strategy to prevent monster destruction. Still, our larvae moths are steadily grinding that sweet, sweet XP. For the next evolution, they have to reach level 4, so that needs to happen before we face Mai, and I have to min-max as much as possible to get there. I managed to find a position that keeps us safe for another turn, and the reason why that's possible is due to Weevil's larvae moth and its diagonal attack pattern. Oh, the irony. Our own larvae moths destroy 2 more of his pieces, reaching 54 and 80 XP respectively. The next level ups are almost guaranteed at this point. Even though it begins to rain, Weevil's root water stands no chance. 1 more attack, we win. Both our larvae moths get their first level up, including the Soothing Wood ability. Special ability at level 2, that's crazy early. And we advance to opponent number 7. Lucky for us, Mokuba plays a few wind monsters, which should be easy targets for our newly evolved larvae moths. We're also one-shotting his thunder monsters it seems, so this will probably be a rather short duel. Piece by piece, we destroy his entire team. But once it comes down to the final monster, it turns out that if his Pikachu is standing on the active thunder field right here, our larvae moth is one single PP shy of destroying it in one blow. 1 point. Crazy how often this has happened, right? I load back for a slightly more favorable position for us, and the duel is over as quickly as it started. The XP will surely help with the next evolution. Finally, it's time to challenge Mako. Depending on the challenge and the rules, this fight can be anything between piss easy and nightmarishly evil. Since we have 4 decently strong monsters on our side, I think it's probably going to be the former. Our Pikachu is crazy mobile, flying across the entire map in a few turns just in time to attack some of the capsules yet to be summoned. Unfortunately, it is 3 attack points short of destroying them. That's truly a shame, but yeah, time to reload. Luckily, our Scorpion just leveled up after the Mokuba duel and is now capable of boosting the attack of a fellow Thunder monster. Exactly what we need. Our empowered Pikachu now rushes forward once again, and lo and behold, now it is enough. What a great feeling it is to beat up utterly defenseless opponents. Fantastic. So fantastic, in fact, that I just do it again. To his boss monster nonetheless. A great start, but then the map changes and this old wrecked ship shoots out straight out of the deep sea. Of course we knew this was gonna happen, and we were all excited to see how much wood this ship might consist of, but alas, these tiles also have only 26 wood landform. Bummer, but not relevant to us, since we already have the first evolutions in the bag. We destroy his monsters nice and steady, and yeah, that's really it. We win. Both of our moths hit level 3 at the end, which means that we can tackle the next evolution for them immediately. Finally, we return to this surprisingly wood-filled map. Right at the beginning, I hit the evolution button, and look at how much these pieces improve here. More movement range, more attack range, and way better base stats. The AP cost also rises quite a bit, but since we'll be playing only 4 pieces for the entire run, I think we'll get by just fine. Now, Mai is a wind player, so our wood pieces have an easy time against most of her pieces, but she's one of the few opponents who actually understands the system of this game and plays what I like to call the partner or parallel attribute to wind, which is of course fire. Both get boosted by both symbols, and they beat each other's disadvantages, so having a few pieces of your partner attribute is usually a very good idea. Did you hear that, Tristan? What about you, Gramps? Did you hear—
What day is it? I like pudding.
Okay, never mind. What's lovely about Great Moth is also the increased PP size, because even Mai's aggressive fire monsters cannot swallow them in one go. I'm not gonna stop with these. While we destroy Mai's monsters quite easily, both our newly hatched moths hit level 2. Mai is left with only one piece on the boards, and it can only move and attack diagonally, which means we can completely zone it out and go for her symbol for extra XP. Nice. We get another level up on one of our moths, getting one step closer to the next evolution already. Our symbol also gets a level up, and I take a few minutes to do some calculations. Whenever we might manage to evolve our moths even further, the AP cost is going to become quite substantial. Because of this, I have to make sure that we'll be able to move all our pieces on every turn, because otherwise some of the later opponents might become extremely difficult to beat. However, since it might take quite a bit of time until we can evolve again, I decide to put all the points into effect strength again. Can't evolve if we're not even strong enough to get there in the first place, right? At this point you might be asking, why would it take so long until you can evolve again? You already got 3 level ups in total from one fight, and there's still so many left. And yes, you're right. Great Moth only needs to reach level 4 in order to evolve again. However, what we also need is 50 freaking wood, and at this point in the run, I have no idea where we'll be able to find a fitting tile or map for this. But let's tackle one issue at a time. So with our 2 Great Moths, we've hit an interesting point in the difficulty curve of this run. Right now, we're noticeably more powerful than all of our opponents, and while they usually play 2 to 3 more pieces than us, it really doesn't matter because we're one-shotting all of them. As long as we keep playing like this and level up our moths further, we'll stay at an advantage for quite a while, and the late game has only one proper fire opponent that could pose a serious problem from an attribute standpoint. However, the moment we evolve these 2 pieces again, they will be reset to level 1, and if that happens too late into the run, we might lose all the advantages we had, since endgame opponents tend to play even more monsters than our enemies here. But yeah, we destroy Rex without any proper retaliation. We even go for his symbol just because we can, and he has no chance to fight back. Our second moth hits level 3 as well, and just like that, Area 2 is cleared. Area 3 is a bit grassy overall, but even though there are quite a few wood tiles to be found, none of them come even close to 50. At this point, the chat and I started speculating where we might encounter 50-point fields at all, and quite frankly, there were not many ideas that seemed promising. My guess was that Pegasus 2, the first opponent of the final area, would have suitable tiles, as his map features a mechanic where you can manually change the attributes of the entire field. But even if these fields had 50 points, it would be very late in the run. Another possibility might be Shadi 2, but he's the penultimate opponent of the entire campaign, and that's certainly way too late. Another possibility that was floating around was Weevil's stage, since that map has a few time-gated changes that I never bothered to check the properties of. Perhaps the wood points of the entire map increase at some point, which could be enough to help us out in this scenario. Very hypothetical, I know. And yes, we had already defeated Weevil, but we could replay the map in versus modes, which would actually keep lineup changes like fusions and evolutions in the save file, carrying them over into the campaign. It's a bit weird just how convoluted it seems to get this high of a specific attribute count, since there are quite a few evolutions with similar requirements, but it is what it is. We kick off Area 3 with Pegasus. His monsters are rather defensive and take more turns to destroy, but also don't dish out any significant damage, so there's not too much to say here. Both moths hit level 4, but as we just figured out, it might take a while until we can actually go for the evolutions. Our 2 thunder monsters are also quite effective against his light pieces, and after an absolutely dominant brawl, we can destroy his symbol easily. But wait. Right after I figure out that I can hit both of his remaining pieces at once with Great Moth's special ability, our dear viewer Emil from the chat has an interesting request. Maybe you can kill the piece and the symbol. No, it's way too weak. You mean if I weaken it beforehand? We could try. What would happen if we win by destroying both his last monster as well as his symbol at the same time? Would we get XP for both? Honestly, I've never even thought about doing that in this game, but I cannot let this opportunity slide. Since the layout of the special attack is so specific though, it takes me ages to try and find a way to get both of them low enough to die to the attack, as well as stay in positions where they would both get hit. Time to whip out all of my strategic skills, trying to manipulate the AI into a certain position by threatening its other options with potential attacks, but Pegasus is a rather stubborn opponent. Most of my attempts fail miserably, and in the process of this incredibly frustrating situation, Pegasus Monster even gets a level up. Are you kidding? After ages of trying different strategies, I'm almost ready to quit. But then, in a twisted turn of fate, I pass the turn without moving the pieces nearby to his symbol, but for whatever godforsaken reason, Pegasus decides to move his symbol right into the spot where we need it. Absolute insanity. And this is not random. Every time I load back, he does exactly the same. We watch the glorious animation of Great Moth's Moth Hurricane, defeating Pegasus in an absolutely unprecedented way. Nice. That was amazing. That was amazing. And while I can't say for sure how the 66 XP points were calculated here, I'm pretty sure that both kills were included. This moth hits level 5 and we advance. After this fantastic start into the stage, we continue with another opponent that will likely be a pushover. Still no idea why Bakura would play earth monsters as a darkness symbol, but oh well. We one-shot that thing easily. But look at this! Again, we're one freaking PP short of one-hitting his Feral Imp. Insane how often this is happening. After the first few areas and our petite and larvae moth's rather disappointing movement capabilities, it is so nice to fly across the board with our great moths here. Bakura is, as expected, an easy win, and we get another symbol level up. 3 points straight into effect strength. What a surprise, huh? Now it's time for Odeon. Odeon is the last Earth opponent we encounter in this game, but since we're not playing Darkness monsters for once, this is not the pushover fight it tends to be sometimes. Although I did underestimate Odeon in some of my previous runs, so how we just try not doing that this time? Our moths are getting stronger by the duel, and even the large PP pools of Odeon's pieces are no match for a mere 2 moth attacks. Our Thunder pieces are in dire straits though, so we have to be careful about them. Since I want to keep these alive, it does take quite a few save state reloads to find the right moves, but the win is pretty clean in the end. Both moths end up at level 6 now, so already over the required level to evolve. If we could just find 50 wood somewhere now. Well, I know where we won't find any wood at all. Still, in terms of power, we should easily defeat Bandit Keith, but playing around all 3 lanes with only 4 monsters is a bit challenging. The power gap between our wood and thunder monsters is becoming extremely obvious now. And look at this, 10 damage from Keith's Lalaleon here? Pathetic. The reason is simple, and the secret I can no longer keep from you. Wood, as an attribute, is completely and utterly broken in this game. Why? Well, wood is the only attribute where the symbol powers up 2 stats for the respective monsters. So a wood monster does not gain, for example, only attack or only defense from a wood symbol and its effect strength, it gains both. And effect strength we have almost maxed out by now, mind you. But what tops all of this off is that wood monsters, aside from the stats that they get from symbol power-ups, naturally gain PP size when they level up, so you can effectively have a triple stat increase instead of only 2 stats, or in some combinations, only 1. Isn't that crazy? We even one-shot Needleball now, so absolutely no trouble beating this man. He does whip out his Barrel Dragon, and mighty as they be, our moths are 19 PP shy of one-shotting it as well. However, I would like you to pay close attention and, well, watch this. Guys, watch this. Watch this. Yes, we used Steel Scorpion's special ability to increase our moth's attack stats, and voila, we one-hit Barrel Dragon after all. At this point, no Darkness monster is safe any longer. And I think this is the most embarrassing loss Keith has ever tanked from our challenges. 2 hits to his symbol, and we freaking delete him from this game. Yet another symbol level up for us, and we max out the aforementioned effect strength, as well as putting 2 points into our AP. Time to clean this area up. As usual, we duel Marek last. He does feature every symbol stat on his map, but they're all below 50, so no chance of evolving here sadly. However, another question needs to be answered. Will we be able to one-hit Zoa? Well, the first kill brings one moth to level 7, and we continue this new tradition. One hit, and by now moving our moth to wood tile for a nice little power up, we do get our answer. Yes, we do one-hit Zoa as well. What a lovely feeling. I decide to chase a symbol for extra points, and with Great Moth's mobility, the journey is rather quick. Yet another one-shot, and we're done. One of the moths hits level 8, and now it's time for Area 4. First off, I check Ishizu's stage for viable wood tiles, but they're all capped at 35. Bummer. Shadi has basically no wood at all, so I end up picking Yami Bakura as our first opponent. I play the beginning very cautiously, but it ends up being like this. Bakura sends in monsters, either one by one or in pairs, and I just one-shot them next turn. The damage they inflict is fairly negligible, so no real danger at any point for us. We end this quickly and proceed with a symbol level up and the other moth at level 8. Marek is a wind opponent, so our moths should get rid of his pieces extremely easily. He does play 2 fire monsters, and facing him this late into the campaign, I was quite scared of these pieces, playing even more cautiously this time around. The strategy proved to be completely over the top though, as we take only 50 damage from one of his fire attacks, and 2 hit them in return. Every other piece is as easy as you expect, and before I can say much, we're already done here. The symbol levels up again, and one of our moths hits max level. Unbelievable, right? I end this particular streaming session by dueling our old rival Kaiba. It feels really good to finally be able to one-shot his light monsters, what with most prior challenges being darkness-centered and all. One-shotting his 320 PP Earth monster also feels pretty good though. I think we've seen by now that even when opponents have fire monsters in their lineup, the strategy remains the same. Run in with our 2 Great Moths and delete everything in sight. His Blue Eyes hits us for a surprising 86 points though, so it's not like there's zero risk involved here. But we one-shot it easily, so yeah, the risk is minimal, isn't it? Since his final monster does only 10 damage to us, I take the time to destroy his symbol. You know, always gotta go for the maximum humiliation against Kaiba. It's tradition at this point. New stream, same luck it seems. Ishizu has absolutely nothing dangerous to offer. Our only risk is losing our thunder pieces, but even that wouldn't be so bad. They don't contribute a ton after all. While you're watching this rather brief compilation of one-hit KOs, Ishizu's done. Our symbol hits level 8, and we continue. With the next one-hit compilation, that is. Okay, that's not entirely true, since, and this might be the first time I'm able to pull this off, I can destroy Shadi's symbol before any of his monsters reach the middle of the field. Damn, Tristan got good at this game, huh?
Oh my gosh, I'm winning!
One single hit and he's finished. Did any of you expect that? Well, I didn't, but it feels amazing. We almost reached the final symbol level up, but we end up being 6 points short. Area 4 is cleared, and now we're reaching a critical point in this run. Throughout the run, I set the additional rule of having to evolve our moths as far as humanly possible, but every time we do evolve them, of course they're reset to level 1 again. This means that the later I end up evolving them, the weaker they'll be for the rest of the run, and this could bite us in the ass big time, but we do have some good news at least. Pegasus 2 has a rather unique stage. This map allows us to change the attribute power of about half the field if we position our symbol on the corresponding tile. That being said, each player has 4 of the 8 attributes available, so I have to play on the right side of the map in order to do that for us. Luckily, the standard map tile we end up on does include wood. Interestingly enough, the spots where you have to move your symbol to also contain the attribute power, and lo and behold, they offer exactly 40 points. Perfect for our final evolution. And well, the moment this duel starts, I go for it immediately, and would you look at that? Perfectly ultimate Great Moth. This thing has the same ability as before, but even more attack range, and higher stats of course. 318 attack at level 1, Jesus. Due to the downgrade and Pegasus' symbol powers, we cannot one-shot his carrot idle though. Because of this, I end up loading back to use the field advantage, but even that is not enough. To top things off, Pegasus surprisingly goes straight for our symbol, pushing us dangerously far back. This is surely the turning point of this run, ending the series of extremely easy and quick battles. We destroy a couple of pieces and earn the first level ups. One moth took quite a bit of damage, so I played the rest of the duel rather cautiously. There's still a fire monster on the board as well, but after deleting his lucky trinkets, I decide to push for his symbol, even risking more damage to our moth, which ends up crumbling for the first time in God knows how many duels. Not bad, Maximilian, but ultimately it is not enough. We remain victorious with all our pieces alive, and one of our freshly evolved moths even hitting level 3. Nice. Ishizu 2. Seriously, if you haven't seen my 2 previous runs, I highly recommend you check out the Exodia only run first. I'll put it on the screen at the end of this video. And then, after you've witnessed the madness that was the last area on that run, go and watch the Gate Guardian video. I promise it's worth it. Oh my god. You seen this? The battle is on. Even though we're not playing Darkness this time, Ishizu is not to be underestimated. She plays 8 monsters, most of which have pretty solid defense stats, so this will mostly be a 2-shot ordeal it seems. Typically her map layout makes it difficult to control the fight properly. These gaps are sometimes too large to jump across, and attack ranges often don't extend far enough either. But well, this time they actually do. The range of these perfect leads is just insane. The damage we receive from Ishizu is so laughably low, it truly shows the madness that is late game wood. She also plays a few wind monsters, which is of no help to her, so we just keep destroying her army one by one, even using our moth's special ability at one point. Pretty cool animation, huh? Yeah, this fight was not spectacular at all. It just took a while due to the high defense stats and sheer number of monsters on the board. The difficulty of these late game opponents truly depends on the attribute and challenge we play ourselves, and it is because of that why I believe that the next opponent might be the actual threat we need to worry about. It's funny, after Joey, who's essentially just a tutorial duel, there's not a single fire opponent in the entire campaign. None. Zero. And just as you think that the game is almost over, Yami Marek returns, and it seems he has figured out that playing wind into our wood pieces might not be that effective. Funny enough, he also plays earth monsters in his team, which is most likely due to his stage being this amazing volcano map, but in the context of our Tristan run, it does look like he's trying to counter our lineup specifically. Funny, isn't it? Marek's monsters also have decent mobility, and due to his symbol being fire now, even the wind monsters he plays pack quite the punch. We will have to play more carefully here, that's guaranteed. One of our moths dips quite low early on, and now it's all about keeping our distance and baiting the opponent to make a mistake. We still 2-shot his fire pieces though, which is likely what will save us, since his fire monsters could easily do the same to us. Look at this, 209 damage from his fire grass. Crazy. Of course, I might have been able to play this whole fight even more cautiously, but the fact that we almost lost a piece to Marek here shows how impactful these attribute advantages are. Imagine if the late game opponents actually had high level monsters too. Would be wild. Yeah, in fact we know it is wild, since a couple of months ago we used Margin Wamu's randomizer tool on stream to create a much harder version of the campaign, and let me tell you, that was also quite the experience. Marek is done, and we're only 2 opponents away from bringing the trophy home. There's no way we're losing to Shadi, so let's do this quickly and head to the finale. As boring as this fight might seem, there is one very special thing about this map. Whenever the dragon in the middle breathes down on us, the map's light sources change their color, and whenever they do that, the surrounding tiles change their attribute values. And you know how many points they get from this? 50. You get 50 freaking landform from this stage effect. It seems like this might be one of the only occasions where evolutions or fusions that require 50 points are even possible. Shadi, huh?
I am, how you say, kind of a dick.
And I know that throughout the video I kept making the mistake of saying we need 50 wood for our final evolution, which of course was not true, we only needed 40. But imagine if it actually was true. If we had to evolve in this map and pray for the dragon to breathe some wood onto the field, and then we'd have to face the final opponent with like level 3 perfect lease or something. Let's just be grateful it didn't turn out like that. Okay, what else can I say about Shardy here? Well, how about I just let jon-oh speak on this matter?
Say it with me, kids. Shardy is a pushover of a duelist. If you lose to him, you suck at this game.
By the way, huge thanks to jon-oh for commenting on my Forbidden Memories challenge run, I really appreciate it. And shoutouts to the user who a few days ago commented on one of my videos that I'm jon-oh's evil twin. That made me giggle. Was a good one. Anyway, we one-shot every single piece Shardy throws at us, and now it's time for the final boss. In previous challenge runs of this game, I learned a tough lesson that fighting Seto 2 can vary by a lot depending on what kind of challenge we're playing. We experienced both complete control and dominance, as well as nail-bitingly close finals on this stage. With that being said, let's see how much Tristan has truly improved. Can he become the king of capsule monsters? We approach Seto first in order to establish control. There are 2 strong fire monsters on his team, so we have to keep an eye on them. His light monsters stand no chance though, going down to 2 attacks each. And what's really helping us out is the insane attack range, essentially letting us destroy most of his lineup before getting hit for serious damage. And I say serious damage because some of them genuinely hit like wet noodles. Okay, this is a water monster to be fair. Honestly, for the final fight, I wish there was something more spectacular to say, but maybe it's spectacular enough in and of itself to see Tristan Taylor wipe the floor with Seto. This duel is not over though, so let's not celebrate too early. By the way, this stage's music on 200% speed goes hard. Try for yourself and thank me later. Alright, it comes down to his final 2 pieces, and these are the 2 fire monsters I was talking about earlier. We almost one-hit his Lejin, but the second attack seals the deal eventually. Let's be honest, at this point the fight is basically over, so I make sure to keep the tradition and humiliate Seto whenever and as much as possible. This time it is especially personal, right? It turns out that his final monster, Meteor Bee Dragon, does hit like a freaking truck, dealing a whopping 168 damage to one of our moths, causing it to shatter immediately. Like, let that sink in, this thing was close to two-shotting our top pieces, even through the maxed out level difference and no support from Seto's symbol at all. In my tunnel vision locked on said symbol, I completely forget to protect my thunder monsters, and Meteor Bee Dragon easily destroys it in one hit. Of course I load back, I'm not leaving anybody behind in the final fight, and after rearranging our pieces, our other moth gets hit for 176 damage, barely surviving. Madness. Looking at it in a different way, Seto might have almost caused us to lose a piece or 2 had we not been able to clear the board without taking much damage early on. But of course, in the end, none of this matters. Tristan strikes Seto down once and for all, proving that he is, at least for today, the true king of games. People, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more Capsule Monster challenges and Yu-Gi-Oh content in general. And if you haven't seen this one yet, make sure to check it out. I moved the right leg one spot closer to Teya's symbol, even though there is no way that I can possibly attack it in its current position. All the while her monsters will have our symbol destroyed in 2 more turns guaranteed. But sometimes, just sometimes, the brave are rewarded.